They said I would never marry. 12 men in 4 years looked at my wheelchair and walked away. But what happened after that stunned everyone, including me. My name is Eleanor Whitmore, and this is the story of how I went from being rejected by society to finding a love so powerful it would change history itself. Virginia, 1856. I was 22 years old and already labeled damaged goods. My legs had been useless since I was 8. A riding accident shattered my spine and confined me to the mahogany wheelchair my father had specially commissioned. But what no one ever seemed to understand was this. It wasn't the wheelchair that made me unmarriageable. It was what the wheelchair symbolized. A burden. A woman who could not stand beside her husband at gatherings. Someone people believed could not bear children, could not run a household, could not fulfill any of the duties expected of a Southern wife. 12 proposals my father arranged, 12 refusals, each harsher than the one before. She can't walk down the aisle. My children need a mother who can run after them. What's the use if she can't have children? That last claim was completely untrue, yet it spread through Virginia society like fire through dry grass. Some doctors speculated about my fertility without ever examining me. Suddenly, I was not only disabled, I was defective in every way that mattered to America in 1856. By the time William Foster, overweight, drunk, and 50 years old, turned me down even after my father offered him a third of our estate's yearly profits, I finally understood the truth. I was going to die alone. But my father had other ideas. Ideas so radical, so shocking, so far beyond every social rule that when he told me, I was sure I had misunderstood. "I'm giving you to Josiah," he said, "the blacksmith. He will be your husband." I stared at my father, Colonel Richard Whitmore, owner of 5,000 acres and 200 enslaved people, convinced he had lost his senses. "Josiah," I whispered. "Father, Josiah is enslaved." "Yes," he replied calmly. "I know exactly what I am doing." What I did not know, what no one could have imagined, was that this desperate choice would turn into the greatest love story of my life. Let me tell you about Josiah first. They called him the Brute, 7 feet tall if he was an inch, nearly 300 pounds of solid muscle from years working the forge, hands strong enough to bend iron bars, a face that made grown men hesitate when he entered a room. People feared him. Enslaved and free alike kept their distance. White visitors to our plantation whispered, "Did you see the size of that one? Whitmore keeps a monster in his smithy." But here is what no one knew, what I was about to learn. Josiah was the gentlest man I had ever met. My father summoned me to his study in March of 1856, 1 month after Foster's rejection, 1 month after I had stopped believing my life would be anything but lonely. "No white man will marry you," he said plainly. "That is the truth, but you need protection. When I die, this estate goes to your cousin Robert. He will sell it, give you a small allowance, and leave you dependent on relatives who do not want you. Then leave the estate to me," I said, knowing it could never happen. Virginia law forbids it. Women cannot inherit independently, especially not. He gestured toward my wheelchair and did not finish the sentence. "Then what do you propose?" "Josiah is the strongest man on this property. He is intelligent. Yes, I know he reads in secret. Don't look shocked. He is healthy, capable, and by every report gentle despite his size. He will not abandon you because the law binds him here. He will protect you, provide for you, care for you." The reasoning was terrifying and impossible to argue with. "Have you asked him?" I demanded. "Not yet. I wanted to speak with you first." "And if I refuse?" My father looked 10 years older in that instant. "Then I will keep searching for a white husband. We will both know it will fail, and after I am gone, you will spend your life in boarding houses, living on charity from relatives who see you as a burden." He was right, and I hated that fact. "May I meet him? Truly speak with him before you decide for both of us." "Of course. Tomorrow." They brought Josiah to the house the following morning. I was near the parlor window when I heard heavy footsteps in the hall. The door opened. My father entered, and behind him Josiah had to duck to fit through the doorway. Dear God, he was enormous. 7 feet of muscle and sinew, shoulders nearly brushing the frame, hands scarred from years of burns that looked capable of crushing stone. His face was rough and bearded, and his eyes moved nervously, never resting on me. He stood with his head lowered, hands clasped, the posture expected of an enslaved man inside a white household. The name Brute seemed fitting at first glance. He looked as though he could tear the house apart with his bare hands. Then, my father spoke. "Josiah, this is my daughter, Eleanor." Josiah's eyes flicked toward me for a brief second, then returned to the floor. "Yes, sir," he said. His voice was deep but surprisingly soft, almost gentle. "Eleanor, I have explained the situation to Josiah. He understands he will be responsible for your care." I found my voice, though it shook. "Josiah, do you understand what my father is suggesting?" Another quick glance at me. "Yes, miss. I am to be your husband, to protect you, help you, and you have agreed to this." He looked confused, as if the idea of his agreement having any value was strange to him. My father added, "I should ask, miss, but do you want to?" The question startled him. His eyes finally met mine, dark brown and far gentler than his appearance suggested. I don't know what I want, miss. I'm enslaved. What I want usually doesn't matter." The honesty was painful and fair. My father cleared his throat. "Perhaps you should speak privately. I'll be in my study." He left, closing the door, leaving me alone with a 7-foot enslaved man who was meant to become my husband. Neither of us spoke for what felt like hours. "Would you like to sit?" I finally asked, gesturing toward a chair. Josiah glanced at the delicate furniture, then at his own massive body. "I don't think that chair would hold me, miss. The sofa, then." He sat carefully on the edge. Even seated, he loomed over me. His hands rested on his knees, each finger thick and scarred. "Are you afraid of me, miss?" he asked quietly. "Should I be?" "No, miss. I would never hurt you. I swear it. They call you the Brute." He flinched. "Yes, miss. Because of my size. Because I look frightening." I am not cruel. I have never hurt anyone. Not on purpose. But you could, if you wanted. I could." He met my eyes again. "But I wouldn't. Not you. Not anyone who did not deserve it." There was something in his gaze, sadness, patience, a gentleness that did not match his body. It made a decision form inside me. "Josiah, I want to be honest. I do not want this arrangement any more than you likely do. My father is desperate. I am considered unmarriageable. He believes you are the only answer. But if we are going to do this, I need to know, are you dangerous? No, miss. Are you cruel? No, miss. Will you hurt me? Never, miss. I promise on everything I hold sacred." He truly believed his own words. "Then I have another question. Can you read?" Fear crossed his face. Teaching enslaved people to read was illegal. After a long pause, he answered softly, "Yes, miss, I taught myself. I know it's forbidden, but I couldn't stop. Books are doorways to places I will never see. What do you read?" "Whatever I can find. Old newspapers, sometimes books. I read slowly. I never learned properly." "Have you read Shakespeare?" His eyes widened. "Yes, miss. There's an old copy in the library no one touches. I read at night." "Which plays?" "Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, The Tempest." His voice warmed as he spoke. "The Tempest is my favorite. Prospero controls the island with magic. Ariel longs for freedom. Caliban is treated as a monster, yet he might be more human than anyone else." He stopped suddenly. "Sorry, miss. I'm talking too much." I was smiling, truly smiling. "Keep going. Tell me about Caliban." And something remarkable happened. Josiah, the massive man called the Brute, began discussing Shakespeare with insight that would have impressed scholars. Caliban is called a monster, but he is enslaved, his home stolen, his mother's magic dismissed. Prospero names him savage, yet Prospero arrives and claims everything as his own. So, who is truly monstrous? You see Caliban as sympathetic. I see him as human, treated as less than human, but human all the same. He trailed off, like enslaved people. "Yes," I finished quietly. We talked for 2 hours about literature, ideas, philosophy. His education was uneven, but his mind was sharp, his hunger to learn undeniable. My fear faded completely. This man was no brute. He was thoughtful, intelligent, gentle, trapped in a body society judged as monstrous. "Josiah," I said at last, "if we do this, I want you to know something. I do not think you are a monster. I think you are a person forced into an impossible position, just like me." His eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, miss. Call me Eleanor. I shouldn't, miss. It isn't proper. Nothing about this is proper. If we are to be husband and wife or whatever this is, you should use my name." He nodded. "Eleanor." Hearing my name in his deep, careful voice felt like music. "Then you should know something too," he said. "I don't believe you are unmarriageable. I think the men who rejected you were fools. Any man who cannot see beyond a wheelchair to the person inside does not deserve you." It was the kindest thing anyone had said to me in 4 years. "Will you do this?" I asked. "Will you agree to my father's plan?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "I will protect you. I will care for you. I will try to be worthy of you. And I will try to make this livable for us both." We sealed it, The handshake, his massive hand swallowing mine, warm and gentle. My father's shocking solution suddenly felt possible. But what followed, what I learned about Josiah in the months ahead, is where this story becomes something no one could have foreseen. "What is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen?" He was silent for a moment. Then he said, "You, yesterday at the forge, covered in soot, sweating, laughing while you hammered that nail. That was beautiful." My heart skipped. "Josiah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have—" "No." I rolled my wheelchair closer to him. "Say it again. You were beautiful. You are beautiful. You have always been beautiful, Eleanor. The wheelchair does not change that. The legs that do not work do not change that. You are intelligent and kind and brave and, yes, physically beautiful too." His voice hardened with emotion. "The 12 men who rejected you were blind fools. They saw the wheelchair and stopped looking. They never saw you. They never saw the woman who learned Greek simply because she wanted to, who reads philosophy for pleasure, who learned to forge iron even though her legs do not work. They didn't see any of that because they chose not to." I reached out and took his hand, his huge scarred hand that could bend iron but held mine as if it were fragile glass. "Do you see me, Josiah?" "Yes, I see all of you, and you are the most beautiful person I have ever known." The words escaped before I could stop them. "I think I'm falling in love with you." The silence afterward was overwhelming. Dangerous words, impossible words. A white woman and an enslaved black man in Virginia in 1856. There was no place in society for what I felt. "Eleanor," he said carefully, we can't. If anyone found out, they'd what? We already live together. My father already gave me to you. What difference does it make if I love you? The difference is safety. Your safety, my safety. If people believe this arrangement is affection instead of obligation, I don't care what people think. I lifted my hand and cupped his face, stretching upward to touch him. I care what I feel. And for the first time in my life, I feel love. I feel seen, truly seen. Not the wheelchair, not the disability, not the burden. You see Eleanor, and I see Josiah. Not the slave, not the brute. The man who reads poetry, who shapes beauty from iron, who treats me with more kindness than any free man ever has. If your father knew, my father created this situation. He put us together. Whatever happens is partly his doing. I leaned closer. "Josiah, I understand if you don't feel the same. I know this is dangerous and complicated. Maybe I am lonely. Maybe I am confused. But I had to tell you, he was quiet for so long that I thought I had ruined everything." Then he spoke. "I have loved you since our first real conversation, when you asked me about Shakespeare and actually listened, when you treated my thoughts as if they mattered. I have loved you every day since, Eleanor. I just never believed I was allowed to say it. Say it now. I love you." We kissed. My first kiss at 22, with a man society said should not exist to me, in a library filled with books that condemned what we were doing. It was perfect. But perfection does not last in Virginia in 1856, not for people like us. For 5 months, Josiah and I lived inside a fragile bub, lay of stolen happiness. We were careful. We never showed affection in public. We kept the appearance of dutiful ward and assigned protector. In private, we were simply two people deeply in love. My father either did not notice or chose not to. He saw that I was happier, that Josiah was attentive, that the arrangement was working. He asked no questions about the hours we spent together, the way Josiah looked at me, the way I smiled when he entered a room. We built a life in those 5 months. I continued learning forge work, creating more complex pieces. Josiah continued reading, devouring books from the library. We talked endlessly about dreams of a world where we could be together openly, about how impossible those dreams were, about finding joy in the present despite the uncertainty ahead. And yes, we became intimate. I will not describe what happens between two people in love, but I will say this. Josiah approached intimacy the same way he approached everything with me, with gentleness, with care for my comfort, with a reverence that made me feel cherished, never used. By October, we had created our own world inside the narrow space society allowed us. We were happy in ways neither of us had ever imagined. Then my father discovered the truth, and everything fell apart. December 15th, 1856. Josiah and I were in the library, lost in each other, kissing freely, believing we were alone. We did not hear my father's steps. We did not hear the door open. Eleanor. His voice was ice. We sprang apart, guilty, caught, terrified. My father stood in the doorway, his face a mix of shock, fury, and something I could not read. Father, I can explain. You are in love with him. It was not a question, it was an accusation. Josiah dropped to his knees at once. Sir, please, this is my fault. I should never have— Be quiet, Josiah. My father's voice was calm in a way that terrified me. He turned to me. Eleanor, is this true? Are you in love with this slave? I could have lied. I could have claimed Josiah forced me, that I was a victim. It would have saved me and condemned him to torture or death. I could not do it. Yes, I love him, and he loves me. And before you threaten him, know this was mutual. I initiated our first kiss. I pursued this. If you must punish someone, punish me. My father's face shifted through anger, disbelief, confusion. Finally, he said, Josiah, go to your room. Do not leave until I send for you. Sir, now. Josiah left, casting one broken look back at me. The door closed. I was alone with my father. Do you understand what you have done? He asked quietly. I have fallen in love with a good man who treats me with dignity and kindness. You have fallen in love with property, with a slave. Eleanor, if this becomes known, you will be ruined. They will call you mad, defective, perverse. They already call me damaged and unmarriageable. What difference does it make? The difference is protection. I gave you to Josiah to protect you, not for this. Then you should not have put us together. I was shouting now, years of frustration spilling out. You should not have given me someone intelligent and gentle if you did not expect this. I wanted you safe, not scandalous. I am safe. Safer than I have ever been. Josiah would die before letting anyone hurt me. And when I die, when the estate passes to your cousin, do you think Robert will let you keep an enslaved husband? He will sell Josiah the day I am buried. Then free him. Let us go north. The north is not some paradise. A white woman and a black man will face hatred everywhere. I don't care. I do. I am your father, and I will not watch you destroy yourself. Losing Josiah would destroy me. For the first time in my life, I am happy. I am loved. I am valued for who I am, not for what I cannot do. And you want to take that away because society disapproves. My father sank into a chair, suddenly looking all his years. What do you want me to do, Eleanor? Accept this. Understand that I love him and he loves me, and nothing you do will change that. Silence filled the room. The December wind rattled the windows. Somewhere in the house, Josiah waited for his fate. At last my father spoke, and what he said shocked me more than anything before. I could sell him. Send him deep south. Make sure you never see him again. My blood turned cold. Father, please. He raised a hand. I could. That would be the proper solution. Separate you. Pretend this never happened. Please don't. But I won't. Hope flickered inside me. I have watched you these past 9 months. I have seen you smile more than you did in 14 years. I have seen you grow confident and capable. And I have seen how he looks at you, as if you are the most precious thing in the world. He rubbed his face. I don't understand this. I don't like it. It defies everything I was taught. But I put you together. Pretending you would not form a bond was foolish. So, what are you saying? I need time to find a solution that does not destroy either of you. He stood. But unders. Tan this. If this continues, there is no place for it in Virginia, perhaps not in the South at all. Are you prepared for that? If it means being with Josiah, yes. He nodded. Then I will find a way. Josiah was summoned an hour later. When I told him, he collapsed into a chair, overwhelmed. He's not going to sell me. He's going to help us. Josiah cried with relief, and I held him as best I could, clinging to hope. But we could not imagine what came next. 2 months later, my father made a decision that changed everything.